Did you know that bananas are radioactive? The Great Wall of China is invisible from space, and there are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. What if I told you that you've never actually touched anything in your entire life? Or that honey never spoils and archaeologists have found 3,000-year-old honey that's still perfectly edible? Welcome to the most comprehensive collection of mind-blowing facts about our world that will completely change how you see reality. I'm talking about shocking discoveries, unbelievable natural phenomena, and hidden truths that even the smartest people don't know. In the next few minutes, we're going on an incredible journey through space, time, history, nature, and human civilization. These aren't just random trivia, these are paradigm-shifting facts that will make you question everything you thought you knew about our planet, our universe, and even yourself. Here's what you're about to discover: cosmic secrets that will blow your mind, biological impossibilities happening in your body right now, ancient mysteries finally explained, natural wonders that defy logic, and hundreds more facts that will make you the most interesting person in any room. So hit that like button, subscribe if you love learning incredible things, and buckle up because your brain is about to explode with knowledge. Let's dive in. Let's start with the biggest canvas of all, the universe itself. The scale of space. First, let's talk about how incomprehensibly massive space really is. The observable universe is about 93 billion light-years in diameter. To put that in perspective, if you could travel at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second, it would still take you 93 billion years to cross it. But here's what really bends your mind: 1 teaspoon of a neutron star weighs about 6 billion tons. That's the equivalent of all of humanity combined, squeezed into something you could stir your coffee with. The gravity is so intense that if you dropped an object from just 1 meter above the surface, it would hit the ground at 7 million kilometers per hour. The sun's dominance. Our sun is absolutely dominant in our solar system. The sun accounts for 99.86% of all the mass in the entire solar system. Jupiter, the largest planet, is barely a rounding error at 0.1%. Everything else, Earth, Mars, Venus, all the asteroids, comets, and space dust, makes up just 0.04%. And get this, the sun loses 4 million tons of mass every second through nuclear fusion. Before you panic, it's been doing this for 4.6 billion years, and has enough fuel to continue for another 5 billion years. Time dilation reality. Here's something that sounds like science fiction, but is absolute fact. Astronauts on the International Space Station age slightly slower than people on Earth. Due to time dilation from their speed and weaker gravity, astronauts age about 0.007 seconds less for every 6 months they spend in orbit. It's microscopic, but it's real and it's been measured. Planetary peculiarities. Venus rotates so slowly that a day on Venus, 243 Earth days, is longer than a year on Venus, 225 Earth days. Even weirder, Venus rotates backwards compared to most planets, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. 1 year on Neptune equals 165 Earth years. Neptune was discovered in 1846, and only completed its first full orbit around the Sun since discovery in 2011. Think about that, since we discovered Neptune, it's only had 1 birthday. The dark universe. Here's something that should keep you up at night: we can only see 5% of the universe. The other 95% is made up of dark matter, 27%, and dark energy, 68%. We know they exist because of their gravitational effects, but we have no idea what they actually are. We're essentially blind to 95% of reality. Cosmic oddities. There's a planet called 55 Compri E that's covered in diamonds. It's about twice the size of Earth and orbits so close to its star that surface temperatures reach 3,900 degrees Fahrenheit. The extreme heat and pressure have likely turned much of the planet's carbon into diamond. Saturn's moon Titan has lakes, rivers, and rain, but instead of water, they're made of liquid methane and ethane. Titan is the only place besides Earth where we found stable bodies of liquid on the surface. There's a massive cloud of alcohol in space, specifically ethyl alcohol, the same kind in alcoholic beverages. The cloud in the constellation Aquila contains enough alcohol to supply every person on Earth with 300,000 pints of beer every day for 1 billion years. The silence of space. In space, no one can hear you scream, literally. Sound requires a medium like air or water to travel through. Space is a near-perfect vacuum, so sound waves have nothing to travel through. Explosions in space would be completely silent. Now let's zoom in on our home planet, Earth. It's weirder than you think. Continental surprises. Africa is splitting in two. The East African Rift is slowly tearing the African continent apart. In about 50 million years, the eastern part of Africa, including parts of Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania, will split off to form a new continent, and a new ocean will fill the gap. Asia is the only continent that touches all other continents. Through various land bridges and borders, Asia connects to Europe, Africa, via the Suez, and North America through the Bering Strait, which was a land bridge during ice ages. Water world. Despite what you learned in school, Earth doesn't have 4 oceans, it has 5. In 2000, the International Hydrographic Organization officially recognized the Southern Ocean as the 5th ocean, surrounding Antarctica. The Pacific Ocean contains more than half of the world's liquid water. It's so massive that all the world's continents could fit inside it with room to spare. The Pacific covers 46% of Earth's water surface and about 32% of its total surface area. Atmospheric anomalies. Earth's atmosphere extends far beyond what you think. The Kármán line, often considered the boundary of space, is at 100 kilometers, 62 miles up. But Earth's atmosphere actually extends to 10,000 kilometers, 6,200 miles above the surface, about halfway to the moon. Lightning strikes Earth about 100 times every second, or roughly 8.6 million times per day. That's about 3 billion flashes per year. Most of these occur over land rather than water, and the place with the most lightning is Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela, with lightning storms occurring up to 297 nights per year. The driest and wettest. The Atacama Desert in Chile is the driest place on Earth. Parts of it haven't seen rain in over 400 years. Some weather stations there have never recorded any rainfall. It's so dry and similar to Mars that NASA tests Mars rovers there. On the flip side, Mawsynram, India, is the wettest place on Earth, receiving an average of 467 inches, 11,871 millimeters, of rain per year. During the monsoon season, residents use special bamboo and banana leaf umbrellas that cover their entire body. Earthly extremes. The Earth's inner core is about the same temperature as the surface of the Sun, roughly 10,800 degrees Fahrenheit, 6,000 degrees Celsius. We're literally living on a thin crust floating over an inferno. Mount Thor in Canada has Earth's greatest vertical drop, 4,101 feet at a 105-degree overhanging angle. It's a favorite challenge for expert rock climbers. Moving ground. The continents are still moving. North America and Europe are drifting apart at about the same rate your fingernails grow, roughly 2.5 centimeters per year. In 250 million years, the continents will likely merge again into a new supercontinent. The Himalayas are still growing. Mount Everest gets about 4 millimeters taller every year due to the Indo-Australian tectonic plate pushing against the Eurasian plate. Magnetic mysteries. Earth's magnetic field flips polarity every few 100,000 years. The last reversal was 780,000 years ago, which means we're overdue for the next one. During a reversal, the magnetic field weakens dramatically, which could expose Earth to more cosmic radiation. The magnetic North Pole is constantly moving. It's currently shifting from Canada towards Siberia at about 55 kilometers per year, much faster than it used to move. Let's turn the spotlight inward. Your body is performing miracles every single second. Cellular symphony. You have about 37.2 trillion cells in your body, but you are outnumbered. Your body also hosts about 38 trillion bacterial cells, meaning you're technically more bacteria than human. Most of these bacteria are beneficial and essential for your survival. Your body produces about 25 million new cells every second. By the time you finish reading this sentence, you've created hundreds of millions of new cells. Your taste buds replace themselves every 2 weeks, your skin replaces itself every month, and your entire skeleton is replaced every 10 years. Brain power. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy despite being only 2% of your body weight. It consumes about 20 watts of power, enough to power a dim light bulb. You have about 86 billion neurons in your brain, and each neuron can be connected to up to 10,000 other neurons. The total number of possible connections is greater than the number of atoms in the universe. Your brain is more active when you're sleeping than when you're watching TV. During REM sleep, your brain is intensely active, processing information and forming memories. Sensory superpowers. You technically never touch anything. At an atomic level, the electrons in your atoms repel the electrons in other atoms. You're always floating just above everything you think you're touching, held up by electromagnetic forces. Your eyes can distinguish about 10 million different colors, though most people can't name more than a few dozen. Some people, mostly women, have a genetic mutation that gives them a fourth type of color receptor, allowing them to see 100 million colors. Your nose can detect about 1 trillion different scents. For comparison, your eyes can only distinguish about 2.3 to 7.5 million colors, and your ears can detect about 340,000 tones. Bodily oddities. Your stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve metal. Stomach acid has a pH of 1 to 2, making it extremely corrosive. The only reason it doesn't dissolve your stomach is that your stomach lining replaces itself every 3 to 4 days. Your body contains enough carbon to make 900 pencils, enough iron to make a 3-inch nail, enough fat to make 7 bars of soap, and enough water to fill a 10-gallon tank. You are taller in the morning than at night. Throughout the day, the cartilage in your spine compresses under your body weight. You can lose up to 1% of your height during the day, which you regain while sleeping horizontally. Blood and circulation. Your heart beats about 100,000 times per day, pumping roughly 2,000 gallons of blood. Over a lifetime, that's about 2.5 billion heartbeats and 1.5 million barrels of blood. Your blood vessels, if laid end to end, would circle the Earth more than twice. The total length is about 60,000 miles, 100,000 kilometers. All the blood in your body completes a full circuit every 60 seconds. Blood from your heart reaches your toes and returns in less than a minute. DNA wonders. If you unraveled all the DNA in your body, it would stretch from the sun to Pluto and back 17 times. Each cell contains about 6 feet of DNA, and with trillions of cells, that's an astronomical length. You share 60% of your DNA with bananas, 90% with cats, and 99.9% with every other human. That 0.1% difference accounts for all human diversity. The immune system. Your immune system can recognize and remember millions of different enemies. After defeating an invader, it keeps a record so it can respond faster next time. That's how vaccines work. Your appendix isn't useless. Modern research suggests it serves as a safe house for beneficial gut bacteria. When illness flushes out your intestines, the appendix can repopulate your gut with good bacteria. The animal kingdom is filled with creatures that seem to defy the laws of nature. Ocean giants and oddities. The blue whale is the largest animal to ever exist on Earth, bigger than any dinosaur. An adult blue whale can weigh up to 200 tons and grow up to 100 feet long. Its heart weighs 400 pounds and is the size of a small car. A human could swim through its major arteries. Blue whale calves gain about 200 pounds per day, drinking 50 gallons of milk daily. They're born weighing 2.5 tons and measuring 25 feet long. The immortal jellyfish, Teratopsis domiae, can literally reverse its aging process. When injured or old, it can revert back to its juvenile polyp stage and start its life cycle over again, potentially making it biologically immortal. Insect impossibilities. Ants are incredibly strong. They can carry 10 to 50 times their body weight. If humans had the same proportional strength, you could easily lift a car over your head. The total weight of all ants on Earth roughly equals the total weight of all humans. There are about 20 quadrillion ants on the planet. Butterflies taste with their feet. When they land on a flower, they can immediately determine if it's suitable for laying eggs or if they can feed from it. A cockroach can live for weeks without its head. They breathe through small holes in their body segments and can survive without eating for weeks. They only die because they can't drink water without a mouth. Mammalian mysteries. Sloths only defecate once a week, and they lose up to 30% of their body weight when they do. They climb down from their trees to do it, which is when they're most vulnerable to predators. A grizzly bear's bite is strong enough to crush a bowling ball. With a bite force of about 1,160 psi, they have one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom. Koalas have fingerprints that are virtually indistinguishable from human fingerprints. Even under a microscope, it's difficult to tell them apart. They're one of the few non-primate mammals with fingerprints. Avian achievements. The Arctic tern has the longest migration of any animal. It flies from Arctic to Antarctic and back every year, a round trip of about 44,000 miles. Over its lifetime, it travels roughly 1.5 million miles, equivalent to 3 trips to the moon and back. Hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backwards. They can also hover in place, fly upside down briefly, and their wings beat up to 80 times per second. A woodpecker's tongue wraps around its skull to protect its brain from impact. The tongue extends around the back of the skull and cushions the brain during rapid pecking. Peculiar behaviors. Dolphins have names for each other. They use unique whistles to identify and call specific individuals, and they'll respond to their own name even when called by a different dolphin. Elephants are the only mammals that can't jump. Due to their size and leg structure, all 4 feet can never leave the ground simultaneously. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills, while the third pumps blood to the rest of the body. Their blood is blue because it uses copper-based hemocyanin instead of iron-based hemoglobin. Octopuses are also remarkably intelligent. They can use tools, solve puzzles, and even remember human faces. Some have been observed collecting coconut shells to use as portable shelters. Deadly and dangerous. The box jellyfish is the most venomous marine animal. Its venom can kill a human in minutes, and it's found in the waters around Australia and Southeast Asia. Mosquitoes are the deadliest animals to humans, causing over 725,000 deaths annually through disease transmission, malaria, dengue, yellow fever, etc. The mantis shrimp can punch with the force of a bullet. Its strike is so fast that it heats the surrounding water to the temperature of the sun's surface and creates a cavitation bubble that produces a small flash of light. Reproductive riddles. Male seahorses get pregnant and give birth. The female deposits eggs in the male's pouch, where he fertilizes and carries them until they hatch. Some species of flatworm engage in penis fencing. Being hermaphroditic, each tries to stab the other with its penis while avoiding being stabbed. The loser becomes the female and bears the burden of producing eggs. History is stranger than any fiction. Let's explore shocking truths about our past. Ancient achievements. The ancient Egyptians built the pyramids while woolly mammoths still roamed the earth. The last mammoths died out around 1650 BCE on Rommel Island, while the pyramids were completed around 2560 BCE. Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the construction of the Great Pyramid. Cleopatra lived around 30 BCE, about 2,500 years after the pyramid was built but only 2,000 years before the iPhone. The ancient Romans used urine as mouthwash. They valued it for its ammonia content, which whitened teeth. Urine was so valuable that Emperor Nero taxed its collection from public urinals. Medieval madness. The Great Emu War of 1932 in Australia saw the Australian military defeated by emus. Soldiers with machine guns tried to cull the emu population but failed spectacularly. The emus were too fast and scattered, and the operation was abandoned after wasting thousands of rounds of ammunition. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. Teaching existed at Oxford in some form as early as 1096, while the Aztec Empire began in 1428. During the Middle Ages, animals could be tried for crimes. Pigs, cows, and other animals were put on trial, given legal representation, and could be executed if found guilty. Recent revelations were closer to Cleopatra in time than Cleopatra was to the building of the pyramids. This really puts the vastness of ancient Egyptian civilization into perspective. The last execution by guillotine in France happened the same year Star Wars was released, 1977. France abolished capital punishment in 1981. The fax machine was invented in 1843, before the telephone. Alexander Bain patented the first fax design 33 years before Alexander Graham Bell's telephone patent. Overlooked heroes. A Soviet officer named Stanislav Petrov likely saved the world from nuclear war in 1983. When the Soviet early warning system reported incoming US missiles, he correctly judged it as a false alarm and didn't report it to his superiors. He was right, it was a computer error. Henrietta Lacks cells have been reproducing in labs since 1951. Her HeLa cells taken without consent during cancer treatment have been instrumental in developing the polio vaccine, cloning, gene mapping, and countless medical breakthroughs. More of her cells exist now than existed in her body when she was alive. Timeline twisters. The Nintendo company was founded in 1889, originally selling handmade playing cards. It didn't produce video games until the 1970s. Harvard University was founded before calculus was discovered. Harvard was established in 1636, while calculus was developed independently by Newton and Leibniz in the late 1600s. The last widow of a Civil War veteran died in 2003. Gertrude Janeway married an 81-year-old Civil War veteran in 1927 when she was 18. She received widow benefits until her death. Bizarre historical facts. During the Victorian era, people would take photos with their deceased loved ones. Post-mortem photography was common, and sometimes the dead were posed to appear alive. In ancient Rome, the punishment for killing one's father was being sewn into a sack with a dog, rooster, viper, and monkey, then thrown into a river. This was considered one of the worst punishments possible. Anne Frank and Martin Luther King Jr. were born in the same year, 1929. This juxtaposition shows how recent these historical events actually are. Science reveals that reality is far stranger than we ever imagined. Quantum weirdness. Particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. This is called quantum superposition, and it's not just theory, it's been proven experimentally. The famous Schrödinger's cat thought experiment illustrates this. The cat is both alive and dead until you open the box. Quantum entanglement allows particles to instantaneously affect each other regardless of distance. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. If you measure one entangled particle, you instantly know the state of its partner, even if it's on the other side of the universe. Time mysteries. Time passes more slowly in stronger gravitational fields. This is called gravitational time dilation. At the top of Mount Everest, you age about 15 microseconds faster per year than someone at sea level. GPS satellites must account for time dilation to work accurately. Because they're moving fast and in a weaker gravitational field, their clocks run faster than clocks on Earth. Without correction, GPS would be off by about 6 miles per day. Physics paradoxes. If you could fold a piece of paper 42 times, it would reach the moon. Each fold doubles the thickness, leading to exponential growth. Starting with 0.1 mm thick paper, 42 folds gives you 439,804,651,111 millimeters, enough to reach the moon. Hot water can freeze faster than cold water under certain conditions. This is called the Mpemba effect, named after a Tanzanian student who observed it. Scientists still debate exactly why it happens. Chemical curiosities. Bananas are radioactive due to their potassium-40 content. The phrase banana equivalent dose is actually used in nuclear physics to measure radiation exposure. Don't worry, you'd need to eat 10 million bananas at once to die from radiation poisoning. Glass is technically a liquid, not a solid. It's an amorphous solid, meaning its molecules aren't arranged in a crystal structure. Old windows are sometimes thicker at the bottom because the glass has slowly flowed downward over centuries. Diamond isn't forever, it's slowly turning into graphite. Diamond is actually metastable, meaning it will eventually transform into graphite, pencil lead at room temperature. Fortunately, this process takes billions of years. Mathematical marvels. There are more possible iterations of a chess game than atoms in the observable universe. The Shannon number estimates about 10 to the power of 120 possible games, while there are only about 10 to the power of 80 atoms in the universe. Zero was invented surprisingly recently, in human history, around 628 CE in India by mathematician Brahmagupta. The concept of nothing as a number took millennia to develop. Pi contains every possible number combination you can imagine. Since pi is infinite and non-repeating, it statistically must contain every possible sequence of digits. Your birthday, phone number, social security number, they're all in there somewhere. Energy and matter. E equals mc squared means you contain an enormous amount of energy. A 150-pound person contains about 3 by 10 to the power of 18 joules of energy, enough to power the United States for about 4 days if it could all be converted. Antimatter is real and has been created in laboratories. When matter and antimatter meet, they annihilate each other in a burst of pure energy. The Large Hadron Collider creates and studies antimatter regularly. Plant superpowers. Trees can communicate with each other through underground fungal networks, sometimes called the wood wide web. They share nutrients, send warning signals about pests, and even support their sick neighbors. The largest living organism on Earth is a fungus. Armillaria ostori in Oregon's Malheur National Forest covers 2,385 acres and is estimated to be 2,400 to 8,650 years old. Bamboo is the fastest growing plant on Earth, growing up to 35 inches per day. You can literally watch it grow. Some species can grow nearly 1.5 inches per hour under ideal conditions. The oldest living tree is over 5,000 years old. A Great Basin bristlecone pine named Methuselah in California was alive before the Egyptian pyramids were built. Its exact location is kept secret to protect it. Weather wonders. A single lightning bolt contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread. Lightning reaches temperatures of about 30,000 Kelvin, 53,540 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The loudest sound ever recorded was the eruption of Krakatoa in 1883. The sound was heard 3,000 miles away, and the pressure wave circled the globe 7 times. It ruptured the eardrums of sailors 40 miles away. Raindrops aren't teardrop-shaped, they're actually shaped like hamburger buns. Small drops are spherical, but larger drops flatten on the bottom due to air resistance. Geological marvels. The Sahara Desert used to be lush and green. Around 6,000 years ago, it had rivers, lakes, and vegetation. Ancient rock art shows people hunting hippos and crocodiles in areas that are now barren desert. There's a place where 4 states of matter exist simultaneously. At the triple point of water, 0.01 degrees Celsius and specific pressure, water exists as solid, ice, liquid, water, and gas, vapor, all at once. Volcanic lightning occurs when lightning forms in a volcanic plume. The collision of ash particles creates static electricity, resulting in spectacular lightning displays during eruptions. Underwater enigmas. The ocean is only 5% explored. We have better maps of Mars than of our own ocean floor. The deepest point, the Mariana Trench, is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. There are underwater rivers and lakes within the ocean. These are formed by denser, saltier water that flows along the ocean floor, complete with shores and surface waves. Brine pools are underwater lakes that are deadly to most creatures. The high salinity creates a distinct separation from surrounding water. Animals that swim into them are instantly preserved. Color and light. The color magenta doesn't actually exist in the light spectrum. Your brain creates it when red and blue light stimulate your eyes simultaneously. It's the only color that has no wavelength. Rainbows are actually full circles, but we only see an arc because the ground blocks the bottom half. From an airplane or tall mountain, you can see a complete circular rainbow. The sky isn't actually blue, it's violet. We see blue because our eyes are more sensitive to blue than violet, and atmospheric scattering affects blue light more effectively. Human civilization has created some truly bizarre customs, laws, and traditions. Language oddities. Pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis is the longest word in the English dictionary. It's a lung disease caused by inhaling very fine silica particles, specifically from volcanoes. Go is the shortest complete sentence in English. It has both a subject, implied you, and a verb. The phrase buffalo, 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 buffalo is a grammatically correct sentence. It uses the city name, the animal, and the verb to buffalo, meaning to bully. Money matters. The smell of money is actually the smell of metal ions. The metallic smell from coins comes from your skin oils reacting with the metals, not the coins themselves. A million seconds is 12 days. A billion seconds is 31 years. This really illustrates the massive difference between a million and a billion. The most counterfeited money in the world is the US $20 bill. However, the most counterfeited brand is actually Post-it notes. Population puzzles. More people live in California than in all of Canada. California has about 39 million people, while Canada has about 38 million. There are more English speakers in China than in the United States. While a smaller percentage of China's population speaks English, their population is so large that the total number exceeds America's entire population. More than half the world's population lives in cities. As of 2023, about 56% of people live in urban areas, and this percentage is projected to reach 68% by 2050. Let's explore the incredible innovations that shaped modern civilization. Digital revolution. The first computer bug was an actual bug. In 1947, engineers found a moth trapped in Harvard's Mark II computer, causing a malfunction. Grace Hopper taped it in the logbook with the note "First actual case of bug being found." The term debugging was born. The first camera took 8 hours to capture a single photograph. Joseph Nicephore Niepce's 1826 photo, View from the Window at Le Gras, required an 8-hour exposure time. Now your phone captures images in milliseconds. The first 1 GB hard drive, released in 1980, weighed over 500 pounds and cost $40,000. Today, you can buy a 1 TB drive, 1,000 times larger, that weighs ounces and costs under $50. Communication evolution. The first text message ever sent was Merry Christmas in 1992. Engineer Neil Papworth sent it from his computer to a mobile phone. Now, over 23 billion texts are sent every day worldwide. The @ symbol predates email by over 500 years. It was used by Italian merchants in the 1500s to denote units of measure. Ray Tomlinson chose it for email in 1971 because it was rarely used and wouldn't appear in anyone's name. Radio waves from Earth have traveled about 200 light-years into space. Any aliens within that radius could theoretically detect our earliest radio broadcasts from the 1920s. We've been unintentionally announcing our presence to the cosmos for a century. Accidental inventions. Penicillin was discovered by accident. In 1928, Alexander Fleming left a petri dish uncovered, and mold contaminated it. He noticed the mold killed surrounding bacteria, leading to the first antibiotic and saving millions of lives. Microwave ovens were invented when a chocolate bar melted. Percy Spencer, an engineer working on radar technology in 1945, noticed a candy bar in his pocket melted near a magnetron. He tested it with popcorn kernels, and the microwave oven was born. Play-Doh was originally wallpaper cleaner. In the 1930s, it was sold to clean coal residue from wallpaper. When home heating switched from coal to gas, the product was rebranded as a children's toy in the 1950s. Coca-Cola was originally invented as a cure for morphine addiction and headaches. Pharmacist John Pemberton created it in 1886, and it originally contained cocaine from coca leaves. The cocaine was removed in 1903. Transportation milestones. The Wright brothers' first flight was shorter than a Boeing 747's wingspan. Their 1903 flight covered 120 feet in 12 seconds. A 747's wingspan is 211 feet. The first airplane flew in 1903, and humans landed on the moon just 66 years later. That's one human lifetime from the first flight to walking on another celestial body. The entire Apollo 11 computer had less processing power than a modern calculator. The Apollo guidance computer had 64 kilobytes of memory and operated at 0.043 MHz. Your calculator has more computing power. Internet phenomena. The first thing ever bought and sold over the internet was marijuana. In 1971 or 1972, students at Stanford and MIT arranged a cannabis transaction using ARPANET accounts, the precursor to the internet. The first webcam was invented to monitor a coffee pot. In 1991, Cambridge University computer scientists set up a camera pointed at their coffee maker so they could check if coffee was available without leaving their desks. YouTube's first video was only 18 seconds long. Me at the Zoo, uploaded by co-founder George Kareem on April 23, 2005, now has over 250 million views. Medicine and the human body continue to reveal astonishing secrets. Surprising medical facts. Your body has enough iron to make a 3-inch nail, enough sulfur to kill fleas on a dog, enough carbon to make 900 pencils, and enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. Stomach acid is so strong it can dissolve razor blades. Given enough time, the hydrochloric acid in your stomach pH 1 to 2 can break down metal. Thankfully, your stomach lining regenerates every 3 to 4 days to protect itself. You produce about 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva every day. Over a lifetime, that's enough to fill 2 swimming pools. Saliva contains painkillers called apiophene, which is 6 times more powerful than morphine. Brain mysteries. Your brain can't feel pain. Despite processing all pain signals from your body, the brain itself has no pain receptors. This is why brain surgery can be performed on conscious patients. You use 100% of your brain, not just 10%. The 10% myth has been thoroughly debunked. Brain imaging shows activity throughout the entire brain, even during simple tasks. Your brain generates about 12 to 25 watts of electricity, enough to power a low-wattage LED light. The brain has about 86 billion neurons, each capable of firing 200 times per second, creating immense electrical activity. Brain freeze happens because blood vessels in the roof of your mouth rapidly constrict and dilate. Your brain interprets this as coming from your forehead, which is why you feel pain there when eating cold foods too quickly. Sleep secrets. You spend about 26 years of your life sleeping. If you live to 80, roughly a third of your existence is unconscious. Another 7 years is spent trying to fall asleep. During REM sleep, your body is paralyzed. This is called rematonia and prevents you from acting out your dreams. In rare cases, this mechanism fails, leading to sleepwalking or more dangerous behaviors. You can't sneeze while sleeping. The nerves involved in the sneeze reflex are also suppressed during sleep, making it impossible to sneeze until you wake up. Dreams last longer than you think. While individual dreams may be brief, you experience about 4 to 6 dreams per night, totaling about 2 hours of dreaming. Most people forget 95% of their dreams within 5 minutes of waking. Healing wonders. Children heal broken bones faster than adults because their bones are still growing. A broken arm in a 3-year-old might heal in 3 weeks, while the same break in an adult takes 6 to 8 weeks. Your liver can regenerate itself. You can donate up to 70% of your liver, and it will grow back to full size within 3 to 6 months. It's the only internal organ capable of complete regeneration. Laughter really is medicine. It boosts your immune system, decreases stress hormones, increases pain tolerance, and improves blood vessel function. A good laugh provides similar cardiovascular benefits to a brief workout. Genetic oddities. Identical twins don't have identical fingerprints. While they share DNA, fingerprints are influenced by random factors in the womb, making each person's prints unique. Red hair is the rarest natural hair color, appearing in only 1 to 2% of the global population. It requires both parents to carry the recessive gene, making it increasingly rare. Some people are born without fingerprints due to a rare condition called a dermatoglyphia. Only a few families worldwide have this condition, sometimes called immigration delay disease because of travel difficulties. Sensory surprises. You have more than 5 senses. Beyond sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch, you have proprioception, body position, equilibrioception, balance, thermoception, temperature, nociception, pain, and several internal senses like hunger and thirst. Your tongue print is as unique as your fingerprint. The tongue has a unique combination of geometric shape and physiological texture that could be used for identification. Some people can hear their eyeballs moving. It's a rare condition called superior canal dehiscence syndrome, where a small hole in the bone near the inner ear causes people to hear internal body sounds amplified. Our planet holds records that push the boundaries of what seems possible. Highest and lowest. The Dead Sea is the lowest point on Earth's surface, at 1,410 feet below sea level. The high salt content makes it impossible to sink, you float effortlessly. No fish can survive in its waters, hence the name. Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador, not Mount Everest, is the closest point to space from Earth's center. Due to Earth's equatorial bulge, Chimborazo's summit is about 6,800 feet farther from Earth's center than Everest's, despite being shorter in altitude. The deepest hole ever dug by humans is the Kola Superdeep borehole in Russia, reaching 40,230 feet, 7.6 miles deep. They stopped because temperatures reached 356 degrees Fahrenheit, making drilling impossible. We've never dug deeper than Earth's crust. Temperature extremes. The hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth was 134 degrees Fahrenheit, 56.7 degrees Celsius, in Death Valley, California, in 1913. The coldest was -128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, -89.2 degrees Celsius, at Vostok Station in Antarctica in 1983. The coldest permanently inhabited place on Earth is Oymyakon, Russia, where temperatures can drop below -90 degrees Fahrenheit, -68 degrees Celsius. The ground is permanently frozen, cars must be left running all day, or they won't restart, and people keep their outhouses indoors. Lud Desert in Iran holds the record for highest ground temperature ever recorded, 159.3 degrees Fahrenheit, 70.7 degrees Celsius, measured by satellite. The dark lava deserts absorb and retain more heat than any other place on Earth. Water wonders. The Amazon River discharges more water than the next 7 largest rivers combined. It pumps about 209,000 cubic meters of water into the Atlantic Ocean every second, enough to fill 83 Olympic swimming pools per second. Lake Baikal in Russia contains more water than all 5 of North America's Great Lakes combined. It holds 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water, and is the world's deepest lake at 5,387 feet. The longest river in the world is debatable. The Nile is traditionally considered longest at 4,132 miles, but recent satellite data suggests the Amazon might actually be longer, at 4,345 miles, depending on how you measure the source. Desert peculiarities. Antarctica is technically the world's largest desert. A desert is defined by precipitation, not temperature. Antarctica receives less than 2 inches of precipitation annually, making it drier than the Sahara. The Sahara Desert is approximately the same size as the entire United States. It covers about 3.6 million square miles, and is still expanding due to climate change. Sand from the Sahara Desert travels across the Atlantic Ocean to fertilize the Amazon rainforest. About 27 million tons of Saharan dust blows to the Amazon each year, providing essential nutrients like phosphorus. Island extremes. Greenland is the world's largest island, but Australia is not considered an island, it's a continent. The distinction is somewhat arbitrary, but Greenland, 836,000 square miles, is considered an island, while Australia, 2.97 million square miles, is a continental landmass. There's an island that's part of 3 different dates simultaneously. Kiribati's Caroline Island was the first inhabited place to welcome the year 2000, being 24 hours ahead of Hawaii, and 23 hours ahead of parts of Alaska. Mel Island doesn't exist. It's a fictional island at coordinates 0 degrees north, 0 degrees east, where the equator meets the prime meridian in the Atlantic Ocean. It's used as a placeholder in mapping software, and gets millions of false location assignments. Volcanic violence. The loudest sound in recorded history was the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa. The explosion was heard 3,000 miles away in Australia and Mauritius. The sound wave circled the globe 4 times and ruptured eardrums of people 40 miles away. Mount Vesuvius buried Pompeii so quickly that people were frozen in their last moments. The pyroclastic flow moved at 450 miles per hour with temperatures of 570 degrees Fahrenheit, killing inhabitants instantly, and preserving their final positions in ash. Yellowstone's supervolcano could cover the entire United States in ash. If it erupted with full force, it would be 1,000 times more powerful than Mount St. Helens. Fortunately, scientists don't predict an eruption for at least another 100,000 years. The human mind is perhaps the greatest mystery of all. Memory and perception. Your memories are not recordings, they're reconstructions. Every time you recall a memory, your brain reconstructs it, potentially altering it slightly. This is why eyewitness testimony can be unreliable. You can't remember pain accurately. Your brain has difficulty recalling the sensation of pain after it's gone. This is called pain paradox, and is why women often have more than one child despite labor pain. The Mandela effect describes when large groups of people remember something that never happened. Many people falsely remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. He actually died in 2013, or that the Monopoly man has a monocle, he doesn't. Cognitive quirks. Your brain makes up about 80% of what you see. Due to blind spots and the eye's limited resolution, your brain constantly fills in gaps and predicts what should be there based on context and expectations. You can't multitask, you're actually rapidly switching between tasks. Studies show this task switching can reduce productivity by 40% and temporarily lower your IQ by 10 points, similar to losing a night's sleep. Decision fatigue is real. The more decisions you make throughout the day, the worse your judgment becomes. This is why successful people like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg wore the same outfit daily, to eliminate unnecessary decisions. Social psychology. The bystander effect shows that the more people present during an emergency, the less likely anyone is to help. Each person assumes someone else will take action, leading to inaction from everyone. Dunning-Kruger effect explains why incompetent people overestimate their abilities. People with low ability in a domain lack the metacognitive ability to recognize their incompetence, leading to inflated self-assessments. You're more likely to remember information when it's associated with emotion. This is why you remember exactly where you were during major events but forget routine days entirely. Time perception. Time seems to speed up as you age. When you're 10 years old, 1 year represents 10% of your life. When you're 50, it's only 2%. This proportional theory explains why childhood summers felt endless. Time flies when you're having fun because of reduced clock monitoring. When engaged in enjoyable activities, you check the time less often, making periods seem shorter in retrospect. Your brain can process images in as little as 13 milliseconds, faster than the blink of an eye at 100 to 400 milliseconds. This is why you can recognize a scene from a briefly flashed photo. Sleep and dreams. Lucid dreaming, knowing you're dreaming while dreaming, can be learned. About 55% of people have experienced it at least once, and 23% experience it regularly. Some people use techniques to induce lucid dreams deliberately. You dream in real time. If you dream for what feels like 30 minutes, approximately 30 minutes of real time has passed, debunking the myth that dreams happen in seconds. Blind people dream differently depending on when they lost their sight. Those blind from birth experience dreams through sound, smell, touch, and emotions, but no visual imagery. Those who lost sight later can still experience visual dreams. Emotional intelligence. Crying triggers different responses based on tear type. Emotional tears contain different chemical compositions than reflex tears, from onions, including stress hormones and natural painkillers. Happiness is contagious and measurable. Studies show happiness spreads through social networks up to 3 degrees of separation. Your happiness can influence friends of friends of friends. Nostalgia has measurable psychological benefits. It reduces anxiety, increases social connectedness, and provides meaning to life. Your brain literally rewards you with positive feelings for thinking about the past. Lost civilizations reveal technologies and knowledge that still baffle modern scientists. Engineering marvels. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a 2,000-year-old shipwreck, is considered the world's first analog computer. This ancient Greek device predicted astronomical positions and eclipses decades in advance. Technology of this sophistication wouldn't appear again for 1,500 years. Roman concrete is stronger than modern concrete and can self-heal. The secret. Volcanic ash and seawater create a chemical reaction that strengthens over time. Modern concrete deteriorates after decades, but Roman structures stand after millennia. The Nazca lines in Peru are massive geoglyphs only fully visible from the air, yet they were created between 500 BCE and 500 CE, long before human flight. Some designs span 1,200 feet. Why ancient peoples created art only viewable from above remains mysterious. Lost knowledge. The ancient library of Alexandria held an estimated 400,000 to 1 million scrolls. Its destruction represents one of history's greatest losses of knowledge. We'll never know what scientific, mathematical, and philosophical breakthroughs were lost forever. Greek fire was a secret weapon of the Byzantine Empire that could burn on water. The formula was so closely guarded that it was never written down, and has been completely lost to history. Modern scientists still debate its composition. Damascus steel, renowned for its strength and distinctive patterns, was made using a technique lost in the 1700s. Despite centuries of attempts, modern metallurgists still can't perfectly replicate the original process. Mysterious structures. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey is the world's oldest known temple, built 11,500 years ago, 6,000 years before Stonehenge and 7,000 years before the pyramids. It suggests complex religious beliefs existed before agriculture, challenging our understanding of civilization's development. The pyramids of Giza are aligned with true north to within 1/15 of a degree, an accuracy that's astonishing considering they were built 4,500 years ago without compasses or modern surveying equipment. Humapunku in Bolivia features precisely cut stone blocks weighing up to 130 tons, moved to an altitude of 12,800 feet. The precision of the cuts, some with tolerances of 1/100th of an inch, would be difficult to achieve even with modern tools. Advanced ancient astronomy. The Mayan calendar was more accurate than the European calendar used at the time. Their calculations of solar years were more precise than the Julian calendar, measuring a year as 365.2420 days, compared to the actual 365.2422 days. Stonehenge functioned as a sophisticated astronomical observatory. The stones align with the summer and winter solstices, and researchers have identified 15 different astronomical alignments. It was essentially an ancient computer for tracking celestial events. Ancient Aboriginal Australians mapped stars into constellations 65,000 years ago, making them possibly the oldest known astronomical tradition. These star maps were passed down through oral tradition and rock art. Medical knowledge. Ancient Egyptians performed successful brain surgery 4,000 years ago. Skulls show evidence of trepanation drilling holes in the skull, with signs of bone healing, indicating patients survived the procedures. Ayurvedic medicine from ancient India, dating back 5,000 years, included plastic surgery techniques. Ancient texts describe rhinoplasty, nose reconstruction, and other sophisticated surgical procedures. The Inca performed successful skull surgeries with survival rates that rival modern procedures. Archaeological evidence shows survival rates of 75 to 83%, comparable to modern surgical outcomes during the American Civil War. Forgotten empires. The Mali Empire of West Africa was so wealthy that when Emperor Mansa Musa went on pilgrimage, in 1324, he brought so much gold that he destabilized Mediterranean economies. His generosity caused inflation that lasted a decade. He's considered the richest person in history, worth about $400 billion in today's money. The Indus Valley Civilization had sophisticated urban planning 4,500 years ago, including standardized weights and measures, advanced sewage systems, and grid-pattern cities. Yet we still can't decipher their written language. Cahokia, near modern St. Louis, was once larger than London, with a population of 15,000 to 20,000 at its peak around 1050 CE. This Native American city was the largest in North America until the 1800s. Numbers reveal patterns that govern reality itself. Mind-bending math. If you shuffle a deck of cards randomly, the specific order has almost certainly never existed before in history. There are 52. 52 factorial, possible arrangements, that's 8 times 10 to the power of 67 combinations, more than the number of atoms in the Milky Way galaxy. The birthday paradox shows that in a room of just 23 people, there's a 50% chance 2 people share a birthday. With 70 people, it's 99.9% certain. This seems impossible but is mathematically sound. Graham's number is so large that if you could visualize it, your head would collapse into a black hole. The number contains more information than can be physically contained in your brain. It's used in mathematical proofs but is virtually impossible to comprehend. Number curiosities. 111,111,111 times 100, and 11,111,111 equals 12 quadrillion, 345,600,678,654,321. Numbers can create beautiful patterns. The number 73 is the 21st prime number, and its reverse, 37, is the 12th prime number, and 12 reversed is 21. Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory calls it the best number for this reason. 0 divided by 0 is undefined, but anything else divided by 0 is infinity, except it's not really infinity, it's undefined. Mathematics has rules even infinity must follow. Probability puzzles. The Monty Hall problem trips up even mathematicians. After choosing one of 3 doors, one has a prize, the host opens a losing door. Should you switch your choice? Yes, switching doubles your odds from 33% to 67%, even though it seems counterintuitive. If you flip a coin 100 times and get 100 heads, the probability of the next flip being heads is still 50%. Each flip is independent, coins have no memory. This is called the gambler's fallacy. Simpson's paradox shows how a trend can appear in different groups, but disappear or reverse when combined. A treatment can be effective in every demographic group, but appear ineffective overall, or vice versa. Infinite implications. There are different sizes of infinity. The set of all whole numbers is infinite, but the set of all real numbers including decimals is a larger infinity. This concept, proven by Georg Cantor, shows infinity isn't absolute. 0.999. Repeating infinitely equals exactly 1, not approximately. This has been mathematically proven multiple ways, but remains counterintuitive to many people. Pi contains every possible number combination imaginable. Your birthday, phone number, social security number, they're all somewhere in Pi's infinite decimal expansion. Some mathematicians believe the entire works of Shakespeare are encoded in Pi. Golden ratio. The golden ratio, 1.618, appears throughout nature, in spiral galaxies, hurricane patterns, flower petals, pine cones, and even human DNA molecules. Ancient Greeks considered it the most aesthetically pleasing proportion. Your body contains multiple golden ratios. The ratio of your forearm to your hand, your finger segments, even your face's proportions often approximate 1.618. The more closely you match the golden ratio, the more conventionally attractive you're perceived to be. Chaos theory. The butterfly effect is real. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can theoretically contribute to a tornado in Texas weeks later. Small changes in initial conditions can lead to dramatically different outcomes in complex systems. Weather cannot be predicted accurately beyond about 10 to 14 days due to chaos theory and the complexity of atmospheric systems. Even with perfect data and infinite computing power, long-term weather prediction is mathematically impossible. Sound waves create phenomena that connect us to the universe in surprising ways. Sonic extremes. The quietest place on Earth is Microsoft's anechoic chamber in Redmond, Washington, at -20.6 decibels. It's so quiet that you can hear your own heartbeat, blood flowing, and bones creaking. Most people can't stay in there longer than 45 minutes before experiencing hallucinations. The loudest sound possible in Earth's atmosphere is 194 decibels. Beyond that, sound waves become shock waves. The Krakatoa eruption reached about 310 decibels that created destructive shock waves rather than sound as we know it. A snapping shrimp produces one of the ocean's loudest sounds at 210 decibels, louder than a gunshot. The cavitation bubble it creates reaches 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit, nearly as hot as the sun's surface, and produces a flash of light called sonoluminescence. Musical mathematics. The A note above middle C vibrates at exactly 440 Hz, but this wasn't always standard. Throughout history, this frequency ranged from 415 Hz to over 460 Hz, meaning historical music sounded different than modern recordings. There are 12 notes in Western music, but other cultures use different systems. Arabic music uses 24 quarter tones, Indian classical music uses 22 shrutis, and some Indonesian gamelan music uses scales of 5 or 7 notes with different intervals. Music can synchronize listeners' brainwaves. When people listen to music together, their neural responses actually sync up, creating shared emotional and cognitive states. This is why concerts create such powerful collective experiences. Acoustic oddities. You can't hum while holding your nose. Try it. Humming requires air to flow through your nose, so blocking it makes humming impossible. Your voice sounds different to you than to others because you hear it through both air conduction and bone conduction. When you hear a recording of yourself, you're only hearing the air-conducted sound, which is why it sounds wrong. Infrasound, below 20 Hz, is inaudible but can be felt. Certain frequencies cause anxiety, fear, and even hallucinations. Some haunted houses have been explained by infrasound from ventilation systems. Echo and reverb. The longest echo ever recorded lasted 75 seconds. It was in an underground oil storage facility in Scotland. Normally, echoes last only a fraction of a second. Whispering galleries allow whispers to travel hundreds of feet. The curved architecture of domes like St. Paul's Cathedral focuses sound waves, letting someone whisper on one side and be heard clearly on the opposite side. Speed of sound. Sound travels at different speeds through different materials. In air, it's 767 miles per hour, in water 3,315 miles per hour, and in steel 13,332 miles per hour. This is why putting your ear to train tracks lets you hear approaching trains before they're audible through the air. Temperature affects the speed of sound. Sound travels faster in warmer air, which is why sounds carry farther at night when cool. Air near the ground creates a temperature inversion that bends sound waves back down. Let's recap some of the most incredible things we've discovered. We learned that you're essentially a walking bag of stardust. Every atom in your body except hydrogen was forged in the heart of a dying star. We discovered that you're more bacteria than human, that you've never actually touched anything, and that your DNA could stretch to Pluto and back 17 times. We explored a universe where time slows down near massive objects, where neutron stars weigh 6 billion tons per teaspoon, and where 95% of reality is invisible to us. We found out that ants outnumber us by 20 quadrillion to 8 billion, that octopuses have 3 hearts, and that there's a jellyfish that's literally immortal. We traveled through history and learned that Cleopatra lived closer to us than to the pyramids, that the guillotine was used the same year Star Wars premiered, and that Oxford is older than the Aztec Empire. We dove into science and discovered that glass is technically a liquid, that time passes more slowly at sea level, and that your smartphone is more powerful than all of NASA in 1969. We explored how Roman concrete is stronger than modern concrete, how ancient surgeons performed brain surgery 4,000 years ago, and how shuffling a deck of cards creates an order that has never existed before. We learned that the quietest place on Earth can make you hallucinate, that music can synchronize everyone's brainwaves, and that your memories are reconstructions, not recordings. the bigger picture. But here's the real truth: every single fact in this video is just the tiniest glimpse into how incredible our world truly is. For every fact we covered, there are thousands more waiting to be discovered. The universe is vast, mysterious, and endlessly fascinating. We live in a time when human knowledge is expanding faster than ever before. Every day, scientists make new discoveries that challenge what we thought we knew. Every day, we peel back another layer of mystery from our universe, our planet, our history, and ourselves. Your journey continues. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you share these facts with friends and family? Will you dive deeper into topics that fascinated you? Will you approach the world with more curiosity and wonder? I hope this video has done more than just entertain you. I hope it sparked something inside you, a desire to keep learning, to keep questioning, to keep being amazed by the world around you. If you enjoyed this journey through the most mind-blowing facts about our world, smash that like button so more people can discover these incredible truths. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I'm constantly researching and sharing more amazing content like this. Drop a comment telling me which fact blew your mind the most, or share an incredible fact that you know. Share this video with someone who loves learning as much as you do. Which section was your favorite? Space, history, the human body. What fact do you wish I'd explored more deeply? What topics should I cover in my next video? Did any of these facts completely change your perspective on something? Remember, the most amazing fact of all is that you're alive in this universe at this exact moment, capable of understanding these concepts, and connected to every other human being and every atom in the cosmos. You're not separate from these wonders, you are one of these wonders. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, and you exist right now, in this brief, beautiful moment. The atoms in your body have traveled across time and space to come together as you. You're a way for the universe to know itself. Every breath you take contains atoms that were once inside dinosaurs, ancient philosophers, and distant stars. You're literally made of the same stuff as everything you see. When you look at the night sky, remember, those photons traveled millions of years to reach your eyes at this exact moment. You're seeing ancient light, cosmic time travel, a window into the past. Never stop being curious. Never stop learning. Never stop being amazed. Thank you for spending time with me on this incredible journey. Your time is the most valuable thing you have, and I'm honored you chose to spend it learning about our amazing world. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore even more incredible truths about our amazing world. Until then, keep questioning, keep wondering, and stay curious. Now go out there and blow someone's mind with what you've learned today.